Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So I want to do a Q&A video here. So yeah, first of all, thank you for posting all of your questions. If you do want to take part in these Q&As, definitely go and join the Discord. The server name is Appetite for the Dead. I will be doing these Q&As every single Wednesday. I know I haven't been posting a lot of them the last couple of weeks, but Dead City is going to be here in 3 weeks, right? 3 weeks tomorrow. So I will be back on schedule with doing the Q&As every single Wednesday. Also, I think I might do some Last of Us questions because The Last of Us is premiering tomorrow, which is super exciting. So yeah, if you want to get all my content breaking down The Last of Us as well as The Walking Dead Dead City, then definitely make sure to be a subscriber. But let's get into the very first question here. So Q&A, since Negan will be getting the bat back in Dead City Season 2, do you think he will mention Lucille, his actual wife? I think that, I'm guessing he will probably mention his wife. I don't know if he'll mention it to certain people, but obviously we saw in the trailer that Lucille was going to be there. So if there's not a mention of the name, we're going to have the scene, right? So we're going to see Lucille actually come back. And I do think it's going to be a really big moment for him. And it's really interesting that it's likely going to happen towards the end of the season. So I'm curious as to how that's going to relate to what's going on with the character, right? And what's happening and everything. Because I think that for Negan to have the bat back again is almost going against everything that he's sort of, decided to do at the very end of the season 10 finale. So maybe he comes out of this on the other end of no, you know what? It's all right if I have the bat. This is something that has helped me survive this and that, and maybe Lucille literally gives him confidence, right? It's the hallucination of his wife that gives him the confidence to actually have the bat, and that as well gives him the confidence to survive in this world. And so maybe that's literally what happens here this season, which I think would be really good for the character. In the end, he needs that bat to survive, and it helps him, survive in this world. Because the last couple of years for him, honestly, haven't been the best. I feel like he's been very upset all the time, very depressed, and he has not been the same person. So that could be where we're going here this season. So we'll have to wait and see. Q&A, do you think you will ever be streaming the original The Last of Us? I would really like to be honest. I think that would be really fun. I think that the first game was incredible. If anything, I think I would stream the second game, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the game. It is a fun game to play. That's the thing. The mechanics of everything work really well, and I think that it's a fun game to play overall. It's a really well-made game, but the story aspect to it definitely is frustrating. So we'll see. Season 2 is going to be here right away, so it kind of makes me want to go back and replay it because I forgot a lot of some of the story for the second game. So I think it would be kind of cool to see just how that game is going to translate to the second season here, right? Because I think that it's only going to be really a third of the game, I'm assuming. Q&A, you mentioned that Scott Gimple was thinking of another 16-hour series. What do you think would happen if they just took out the mid-season breaks and aired all 16 episodes week to week? I've always been interested in why AMC has never done that, and I never really, got an answer, I feel overall. I think that it just makes sense that it was because of the holiday break, and if you're going to air The Walking Dead at any point, it's going to be in the fall. You're not going to air it in the summer and then in the fall. Starting a new season of The Walking Dead should be happening in the fall, in October. That's one of the reasons why for The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, I just don't like the September release date. I think last year was all right. It was September 29th, but push it off 1 week until the very first Sunday of October. I think that would just be amazing because then you could actually have The Walking Dead back, around that time of year. And then in the spring or whatever, winter, spring, you'll have Dead City premiering. It's a little different this year because we're going to get a lot of Walking Dead content starting now, going for the rest of the year. Whereas we've had not a lot of stuff to talk about since last November. But next year, it could easily be this fall here, we get, September, October, The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. And then next February, March, we get The Walking Dead Dead City. That could be the schedule for the next 2 years here, which would be really awesome. A very consistent schedule. In terms of the whole 16-hour thing, I think that's really what it is that if you start to air the very first episode at the very beginning of October and went 16 weeks straight, that would be going over Christmas and just the holiday season into January, and not a lot of people watch TV shows around that point. So I think airing 8, there, and then doing another 8 in February at the very end or early February always just worked because that's when people would start to watch a lot of TV again, right? So I think that it works. And it's kind of funny that The Walking Dead isn't necessarily doing that anymore. And I think they really should go back to that. Q&A, do you think Jerry will ever show up in the spinoffs? Oh, I would love it. I would really love it if Jerry showed up in the spinoffs. I'm a big fan of Cooper Andrews, honestly, for personal reasons as well, like a really amazing person. And I think that, yeah, I would love to see him in some of the spinoffs. Like, I hope that if there is a new series where they have Rick and Michonne back and they're at the Commonwealth and just whatever they do there in terms of an endgame series, like we have to see Jerry come back. Like he's a really incredible character. Not even just that, I think that the comedic aspect to the character works really well because there's not a lot of characters that are like that on the show. Like you have Negan, and I'm trying to think of who else. Like it's really just Jerry after that. Like there's not a lot of like hilarious, funny characters that just have that presence on the show. So yeah, I hope we do see Jerry come back. Q&A, why is the Walking Dead universe so afraid of expanding the story? We saw how rushed The Ones Who Live was after 20 episodes of World Beyond, and the quick wrapping up of every French character in The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 2, and now JDM's possible hint about Dead City, even though Season 2 has only just seemingly began to open up this whole complex dynamic that exceeds the Maggie/Negan drama with New York, New Babylon, etc. My question is, do you think this is an AMC override to make sure the focus stays on the core 6, or is it mainly Zabel, Eli Journey, and Gimple? I don't really know what's going on with all of that, but we did get some news more recently that I think that Dead City is likely going to get a Season 3 and a Season 4. So, you know, it's going to be getting a little bit more. There's likely going to be 8 episodes each, so they're doing right by that show. For The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, like, I think the thing is that when you look at the last couple of years, it made sense. Like the one thing I think about quite a bit is what Gimple said regarding like the first seasons of the shows, and even that's including The Ones Who Live. Like, yeah, we're doing 6 episodes because like, you know, season 1 had 6 episodes, and we'll just kind of see from there. Like we're trying to get these shows established, right? And so I think after that, that's why Daryl Dixon season 2 was just so like, what? Only 6 episodes? And that was coming off The Ones Who Live, which like, yeah, if it's 6 episodes, I mean, people were really hoping for more. Like it just rushed the story at the very end. And so last year was a big moment for The Walking Dead where I think people were okay with everything beforehand because it was the first seasons, but after seeing The Ones Who Live rushed like that, and then seeing only 6 episodes of Daryl Dixon season 2, which was really rushed, now going forward, everyone's focusing on that. And so, you know, the fact that Dead City has 8 episodes, I think is really incredible. That's going to be a big thing for the show. And I don't know, like, if it's Gimple or the showrunners. I do believe it's most likely AMC because they're the ones that order the amount of episodes, right? Like, Zabel, I think, has talked about that in the past where, like, they have just that many episodes to tell these stories in. So I think if they had more episodes, if AMC gave them more episodes, then, you know, they would tell, you know, more of I guess, a better story, right? But they have what they have right now. And so I think that we could be seeing AMC, you know, giving these shows more episodes. I think it would be really smart. A lot of their other shows have like 8 episodes, or I think some might even have 10. I could be wrong on that, but they did go to 6 episodes for a lot of shows for a while. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens here, but I could definitely see 8 episodes coming in the future here. And then maybe something more after that, because I think people want to watch more of a TV show. And I see a lot of complaints about shows only being 6 episodes. Honestly, even 8 episodes. Like Daredevil being 9 episodes, I've seen quite a bit of complaints about that. And The Last of Us Season 2 only being 7. Like, there's a lot of complaints about that because years ago, people used to watch a lot more episodes to a season. And so maybe things did change a little bit a couple of years ago, but I think things are starting to go back right now where people want to watch TV shows for a lot longer because it's just a better story overall and it's not rushed, right? Q&A, this is a 2-part question. Do you think Maggie will let go of her vengeance towards Negan this season? I think she will. I definitely think she will. I think that she is going to be in a really awesome place overall, and that they will work together, and it's going to be really exciting to actually see how that plays out. Q&A, could this be a potential storyline for a future Walking Dead series focusing on Maggie, Negan, Rick, and Michonne? I know Maggie didn't really end on the greatest terms with Rick and Michonne. If she does forgive him and they make it out of Dead City alive, could that repair their friendship? I could see Maggie realizing that Rick was right to keep him alive after the events in Manhattan. Yeah, you know what? I think that is the reason to do I don't know, or at least to have Rick. That's the thing, you need Rick and Michonne, because Michonne was the one that, I mean, both of them really had a lot of issues with Maggie, right? Like, because Negan, I think, just really stayed in that cell the whole time, and so everything was about him, but like, Maggie wanted to kill him, and Rick and Michonne were just like, no. So yes, Maggie and Michonne did have that encounter there in the very, I think it was episode 4 or 5 at the very ending or beginning of the episode. But before that, Maggie and Rick had a lot of issues. And so that's the thing. I want to see that resolution there. Like, it's kind of sad to think that that story ended with Maggie just like not liking them, basically. Like, Maggie just left. And like Rick was just like, I think Rick understood, but like Michonne, she also pulled away a little bit afterwards because, you know, she thought Rick died. And so they just really stopped talking, and Maggie left afterwards. Like, she wanted, you know, nothing to do with anyone. And so it's just kind of sad to see how all of that ended. So yeah, reuniting all of them, for them to talk about a lot of that would be nice. I think it would be a really cool moment to sort of, you know, and that's the thing too, is like, you don't want them to reunite to talk about all of it and that's it. Like, you want the characters to see each other again, some of that tension build up again, because you're like, oh yeah, that's right. That's where things left off last time. And then eventually at the end of the season, you wrap all that up and that story's over. Q&A, do you think Negan crying is his flashback to Lucille? I think it probably is related. I don't know what else it would be related to, so I would have to say yeah, most likely. Q&A, with Dead City ending with season 4, could you see another spinoff getting announced within the next year or two? Also, what are your thoughts on HBO adapting The Last of Us Part 2 into 3 different seasons, since it's a long game? Well, I don't like that idea, to be honest. I think adapting it over 3 seasons is a little ridiculous. I do think you're going to see the story suffer quite a bit. We're probably going to see it this season. For season 4 ending, or being the final season of Dead City, and like, could we get another spinoff announced? I do think we're going to, because they've been talking about it. Like, Gimple has been talking about it a lot more lately, so I don't know what it's going to be, but we most likely are going to be getting another spinoff announced at some point, probably this year. Maybe it's at the very end of this month here, but I'm assuming at Comic-Con. Q&A, do you see Judith or the other kids old enough to become CRM soldiers if there's an endgame scenario of a new series? Very, very interesting. I could definitely see some of the characters becoming CRM soldiers, but it just depends, I guess, on like the state of the CRM and where they want to go with it like years later. Like, is it the same thing? Like, obviously it's going to be a really amazing place to be a part of, I feel like, but we don't know too much about it. Like, we know that the military is not as bad as they were, but like, how is everything else run? You know, I'm just curious on that aspect to it. But definitely, like, some characters going to be a part of the CRM, I could totally see that, like, join the military. I could so see that with the show here. That'd be a really incredible storyline in like a next generation TV show or something like that. But I'm gonna leave it here though. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.